Good evening. This is Common Sense. I'm William Ferguson. Watching the news lately, it causes me to think, who is what? Who is really doing good? Or who really wants to do good for the country? And I think about the Kavanaugh confirmation hearings. And this foolish Ford woman in California, of course, who wants to say, oh, well, he tried to rape me, he groped me, he put his hand over my face so I couldn't scream. But then it said that there were two guys in the room. Well, earlier, I think it was in 212 or 202, that she said there were four in the room. Okay, was it 2 or 4? She doesn't remember where it was or when it was. Okay, I've been drunk before, but I pretty much know when and where I was to begin with. Because normally, if you get that drunk, you got to begin somewhere. And normally when you begin there, you remember where you were when you began. So, if it's her memory, she's got a bad memory. Now, she's also higher up in her career. And what she says, I just don't understand. Because she was invited by the Senate to come for a hearing, whether it be public or private. And she says, well, no, not until there's an FBI investigation. How many investigations on Brett Kavanaugh do you need? They've already done 6. And he's passed them all as he's climbed the ladder through his career. He's worked for presidents. Come on. The man is honorable. But that brought me to, who do we really want in Washington? Do we want people that are good, that are for the people, that are constitutionalists, that believe that the Constitution is not to be interpreted any which way you want, but it is to be read and interpreted as it is written? Or in other words, we have the freedom of speech. We can say anything we want, except for a few things. Other than that, we have a freedom of speech. The Democrats seem to want to interpret the Constitution any way they want. And is it true and good? Is it moral to want to kill the unborn, those that have no defense? They're alive, but yet the Democrats seem to think it's okay. In fact, they renamed it. It's not abortion anymore. It's women's health. No, it's not. Now, I can see if the pregnancy is going to be fatal to either the woman or the child, or both, more likely the woman, that an abortion of the pregnancy would be closer to okay. Other than that, I don't see any reason for an abortion for any woman, because all they're doing is killing an unborn infant. And when I look at this, and I look at all of what the Democrats are doing, because they have no policies, they don't want good. And the conservative Republican, most of which are Christian, we believe that murder at any age is wrong. We believe, and I started with this Ford thing because we believe that bearing a false witness, which is one of the 10 Commandments, is wrong. We believe that God is the ultimate moral provider. He's the one that gave us morals. And the Democrats, it seems as though they want to tell us what is moral. Well, I'm sorry, Democrats, but I'm not going to listen to a single word that you say. Because I would say 95, 98% of you are immoral. You have no idea what a moral is if somebody drew a picture of it with a crayon and showed you. You wouldn't know. The person running for Attorney General of Minnesota, he was accused of beating his wife, I believe it was. And yet, what has come of that? In fact, he won his primary for the general in November for the Attorney General's position in Minnesota. And yet we have a good judge, an honorable judge, a judge that believes in morals. He believes that the basis of the Constitution comes from the Bible. And the Democrats, the liberals, they hate that. They have the mindset that man knows what is moral when we don't. You see, man not only has good in his mind, he also has evil in his mind. And you cannot live by both. You are either good or you are evil. And depending on which way you go is really who you should be voting for. Do you want good in this country, in this world? Vote Republican. Because most Republicans are conservative Christians, as far as I've seen. I mean, there are some that are a little off, but there are also the rhinos, Republicans in name only. But the Democrats, the liberals, and this goes even into Hollywood, the mainstream media, and they are for immoral acts, immoral everything. And yet they say, well, you cannot divide the family of illegal immigrants coming into the United States. But yet, they push, and they actually push this, that taxpayer money go to Planned Parenthood, who is an abortion provider, which does, in fact, divide a child from its mother, period. Whether that child is outside the womb or inside the womb, it is still alive. Most healthy, some not. There are those that are addicted to drugs that actually affect the unborn infant, which is sad. And another part of promoting abortion is also immoral. Sex outside of marriage is incorrect. It kills the spirit. Now, the way, and this is not just, well, it's because it says it's in the Bible, that's what he's saying. No. It is the true way of man. If you look at a couple that has had sex prior to marriage, let's say they met one night in a bar, and he decides, oh, I'd like to meet her again. And so they set up another date, and let's say a week later, they're in bed with each other. 6 months later, the sex dies. It's no good. It's not fun anymore. That's it. End of relationship. End of sex. let's look at the other couple. They meet, and they both know that we need to be friends first. We need to have a basis, a cornerstone on which to build this relationship. Excuse me. So they decide, let's be friends. Let's see if we're compatible mentally first, and then spiritually. How are you spiritually? Let's say I'm non-denominational, but I go to church. And she says, oh, well, I'm a Southern Baptist, and I go to church. Well, let's see how it works. And so they each go to each other's church, and they find out, let's just go to your church. I like that. And so they come to a compromise, and they grow friendly and spiritually until the day comes that the man decides, you know what? We're such good friends. I want to spend the rest of my life with you. And she says, you know what? That's a good idea. And then after the marriage is the consummation. They consummate. And whether she is on birth control or not, that doesn't matter. And so they decide, let's have a family. Okay, and so they start to build a family. And the family grows. And the husband and wife grow together. And the children grow into the family. And the family grows together and they stay together. Which is right? The first couple that just meet for sex, and then the whole thing dies? There's no love? It's just sex? It's just physical? Yeah, just physical. Or is it the second couple that decide they need a cornerstone to build their relationship on? And so they turn to friendship, mentally and spiritually, and they grow together. And sex, when that comes in, it's the binding element, the final binding element of the relationship. And that is what holds them together through thick and thin. Their friendship, their spiritual binding, and their sexual binding. It all comes into play. Mind, spirit, then the body. And so they raise their children in truth, not in the lies. And the Democrats are trying to push people to believe their lies. Don't believe their lies. They have nothing. They have nothing. I have heard not a single peep of any program, anything coming from the Democrats. They just want to say the good is wrong. We want evil. We want to say we are the ones that have the knowledge. We, man, knows better than God. Of course, they don't believe God exists. Or if they do, they just shun him to the side and say, well, you might be God, but you don't know anything. And so, who really do you want to believe? People that follow the Creator? The one that made us? The one that knows how we work? How life functions? How it is life is good? How to have everything you want? Everything you need? Or do you want to believe the ones that say, oh no, we're man? And in that belief, they believe that it's their right to take everything from this society, everything from the people. That's wrong. The Constitution is based on biblical principles completely. And that's why the liberals hate Donald Trump. He's guiding this country under business experience, under religious experience, and he's bringing this country forward. He's not taking from the people. He's giving to the people. He's leading the country. He's not being a dictator. He's not forcing anything on anybody. But he is saying, in order to get this country going, we've got to cut taxes. We've got to cut these stupid regulations. We have got to build foreign trade. We have got to do things that will build the country, not take from the country. And the liberals hate it because it is good. It is godly. It is building the country, moving it forward, keeping the people free, which is the cornerstone of the Constitution. Freedom. The people that settled this land came from countries where you could get your head cut off if you said something wrong. Is that what you want back? That's what the liberals are trying to do. They're trying to say we're right, you're wrong. So when you vote this year, this election, vote with your mind. Don't think about, oh, they're going to give me this, they're going to give me that. They're going to give me everything. Well, it's a lie. And don't listen to this, oh, woe is you, they took away your insurance. Really, I'll bet you there's more people that are glad that Donald Trump took out that stupid section of Obamacare that says if you don't have insurance, you have to pay a fine. And if you don't pay a fine, we're going to take it out of your income tax. I'll bet there's more people glad about that and that they don't have to pay for insurance. It was ridiculous. Obama tried to ruin the United States. He did. Because people listen to the lies. Don't listen to the lies of the Democrats. Stick with the Republican conservative Christians. We want to move the country forward. We want to keep our freedom. We want God's blessing on this country as it should be. I ask that you pray for the president and those who follow him, that they will follow God in leading this country to safety, security, peace, prosperity, unity, and freedom. And pray for those who are in disaster-stricken areas, whether it be here in the States or overseas in China or the Philippines. Thank you for watching. I'm William Ferguson, and this is Common Sense.